You know, I gotta admit, as a witch, the Catholic Church isn't entirely wrong about witchcraft. Someone brought up Catechism 2117 and how, you know, this might have some political motives behind it, but as I read it again, I find that, actually, no, I mean, I don't disagree with what this says, actually. I know a lot of people are going to be like, Sarah, what? But you are a witch. You do magic. You do that. What? How do you possibly agree with that? And it's because, first of all, I don't think the Catechism of the Catholic Church, aka basically a Q&A board, is infallible. I think it's based on priestly interpretation of the Bible, and therefore has some room for error, but also because the overall message of this actually is pretty spot on. I mean, look at the language of it. I mean, specifically, I'm talking about by which one attempts to tame occult powers so as to place them at one's service and have a supernatural power over others, right? Blah, blah, blah. Even if this were for the sake of restoring health, are gravely contrary to the virtue of religion. To me, that doesn't necessarily mean what I do, because I'm not putting any spirits, any creatures under my power. I'm not lording over them and forcing them to do stuff, which is what this means to me. Now again, this is why I say the Catholic Church is not infallible when it comes to this. The Catechism has room for error, and there's an error right here, right? Because, okay, we might say that, and now the Catholic Church has to contend with the stories of King Solomon, who God literally gave a ring for the express purpose of controlling demons. Like, we gotta contend with that if we have this catechism. This catechism is not complete, it's not accurate because of that. Because otherwise you gotta do some mental gymnastics to justify how King Solomon, with the blessing of God, built a temple of God with the power of demon Asmodeus. But, and this is a big but, the concept is still there, right? The concept of putting spirits under your boot, basically, to get stuff done, yeah, that makes sense. For the most part, yeah, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, while it gets a couple things wrong about the Bible and about the nature of God, and while it doesn't clearly define some things, overall, that whole concept, that main concept of, like, don't, try to basically abuse the powers that be or get undue power through these occult means makes sense, right? Because as I was talking about in a post I made yesterday, we don't, as Christian witches at least, we don't have this power for us to go be Merlin out there shooting lightning bolts and, casting fear into people and being all, ooh, look at me, I'm so powerful. That's really not what any magic, I think, should be about. And it's really funny, as I was contemplating this today and pondering what this, really actually means, I happened upon this video. This was, God handing me exactly what I was talking about, basically, because, not to, start throwing around morality on people's practice, but why would you do that? That's some petty childish shit. It really doesn't matter, I think, what religion you are a part of or not a part of, what god or gods you do or don't follow. If you're gonna go curse someone just because they said they're not afraid of witchcraft, I personally don't respect you or your practice, because I think you're a fucking child. I already wasn't afraid of witchcraft as a witch myself, but now I'm definitely not afraid of your fucking witchcraft, because leave that toddler shit on the playground. But that's an example, kind of, I feel like, what the Catechism is really trying to get at, but still goes way too far and way outside of its bounds to say. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, the Catholic Church is not infallible, despite what fucking tried cats want to tell me, and there are errors in this. There are things that this Catechism section gets wrong in its approach to magic about, but the overall idea of don't grab for fucking power that you are not due, and don't lord it over people, and don't use it to stamp your feet and get your way, yeah, I agree with that. And so, to talk more about the things that, aren't really it in the Catechism, I will do that now. As for the rest of this, wearing charms is also reprehensible. This is where I'm gonna need the Catholic Church to define what a charm is for me, because step one, miraculous medal, right? We've got this one right here, which is Mary. And step two, St. Benedict's medal. These are both what I would consider charms. So you're gonna have to be a little bit more specific than that. And then, of course, we've got the implies divination or magical practices. The Church, for her part, warns the faithful against it, which you gotta be a little bit better with your language than that. That's not, we condemn it, do not do it. That's, maybe don't. So be more specific with that language, first of all. But second of all, as I was saying, Catechism's not infallible. Whoever was interpreting the Bible apparently completely forgot about both casting lots in Acts and the Urim and Thummim in Exodus. But I digress. And then, of course, recourse to so-called traditional cures does not justify either the invocation of evil powers or the exploitation of another's credulity. Now, again, yeah. Shut up, Catholic Church. You guys are colonial as hell. You define everything that isn't under your jurisdiction as evil. No one wants to talk about it. However, if we take face value the term evil, yeah, like, obviously if you're going bartering with, like, evil spirits for favors, that doesn't tend to end well. And also, you know, taking advantage of people's credulity as in their belief, yeah, that opens doors to the actual problems, like fraud, right? But overall, I mean, you see my point, you get my meaning. As a witch, as a Christian witch, Catholic Church has got the right spirit, right? It's got the spirit about what it wants to say about magic. Fucks it up a little bit, but ultimately, yeah, when it comes to magic, there has to be a level of responsibility and maturity when you are doing it, so that you do not look like these petty, goofy people on Witch Talk. Because I tell you, if there's one bad thing about witchcraft getting popular and going mainstream, it's everyone doing stupid shit like this. Unevolved, dumb shit. And, like, this is why we also have so many ex-witches turned to Christian, back to Christ, blah blah, all that kind of nonsense. Because they get into witchcraft, they act stupid like this, they get their shit kicked in for it, predictably, and then they go crying about how it was all demons and it was all bad and it was all scary. Well, yeah, you did something stupid. It's like, why would you go put your hand in a lion's mouth and not expect it to bite? The second you get into witchcraft to start, like, running ripshod on everything and everyone around you is the second you lost. That's the second you've basically stamped yourself as a forever novice, as someone who's going to be leaving this faster than they got into it, the second things don't work out the way you want. Let me say so explicitly. Witchcraft is not about getting power over other people or the world. It's about getting power over yourself. It's about getting into alignment with the natural forces of the world. At least as Christian witches, anyway. I don't know. What do you guys think about the Catechism? What do you think the more you look at that? I'm interested to know.